Hello everyone, as Alliance here. I just wanted to make a quick video focused on tech. I haven't made any videos quite focused on it in a long time, and I just wanted to go over how to use them, right? I wanted to go over the different ways that you can use them, the deviations, the time frame alignments that are best used, and where to use them mostly, right? So I have OSTDV, I have IPDA Aimbot, I have also my personal trading style, but the best way to use them pretty much is from HTF to LTF, right? You want to do your top-down analysis with the tags instead of just having a blind view of the chart, right? Without anything, without tag, without OSTDV, without anything. This is going to be what you see as your chart, and you're just going to go and have to use any fair value caps that you can, or breakers, or order blocks, and all that. But when you do top-down analysis from the HTF, which we will go there right now. So let's say we start from the daily time frame. All right, let's take off this OSTDV. So pretty much what you can do with the tags themselves is you can either use a quadrant range up until the next sequence, right? This is one of the ways that you can do it, right? From the HTF to the lower time frame. I'm gonna show some ways that you can do them, right? So yes, here's the levels for the people who want to have the same range as I do. And then, well, let's do it from a current price, because this is going to be a pain on the lower time frame to find. So next open, so next week, Monday, it should be a new tech candle, right? This is going to be your quadrant. And let's say you want to go on the 4 hour, find the one that's inside of your sequence. So current inside of this sequence would be this, right? So this would be your bullish PD, right? Down to 1 hour. This one finishes at 2. No, this one finishes at 6. So from this point on, you can start using the PD array. So this high to this low is your PD array. So from this point on, you can use the PD array and look at the consequent encroachment, high and low, as sweepable areas or breakout areas, right? Each level of the quadrant can also be an entry area on the lower time frame. So let's say we looked at today on Friday. So this is the most current one. 4 hour on the Friday, so Friday, Thursday. It'd be this one, low, high. Go down to 1 hour. Put this high there. Perfect. Don't really need a quadrant on this one. It would probably just be the high of the daily range. So instead of the quadrant, we'll just do that. It's gonna be our daily range high. These are, so 4 hour would be this one. 4 hour. This one is 1 hour, this one is 1 hour, okay. Now, these are our main draw-ons, right? Then, okay, so for this one would have been the high or the low during the last, so from 15 to 16 would have been the high or low as a drawn, but we didn't go for those. this out to this time. That's my 1 hour. And that's my 1 hour. Right. So the 1 hour is the refined. 4 hour is where you want to get your sweeps. And then the daily, that's your average range of where you want to have your reaction from. Those are all your draw-ons pretty much. Go down to the 15. So what do we have here? 1 hour. 1 hour here. Okay. You can always use IPDA Aimbot also if you don't have the indicator, or the go back indicator. It's not the same, but it'll work out. Expansion intraday then. Yeah. Okay. So here, our open of the day for Friday is this. Right. Here at 18. You can mark out your OSTDV from, well, we gotta do it on the 3-minute first. Mark out your OSTDV. $16.45. 21.02. Up. Mark it out. So this is on gold. We'll also check NQ after that. This is going to be a long video for anybody trying to stick to the video. This is going to be a pretty long video because we're also going to do analysis on NQ after that, because I know most of you are going to be on NQ anyway. Though I do recommend trading gold if you're on a live account, on a personal account pretty much, since I know fundeds don't really let you do that. Alright, then we got retracement here. Okay, so here's all our levels, right? 2103. Once you come back to the OT, so OSTDV is mostly where I'll be looking at my general idea of where I want to go. Okay, OSTDV really is one of my main confluences in terms of getting my bias and having some good reaction areas. I do refine the entries, extremely refine the entries for my stop losses. But OSTDV is really like one of my main confluences in terms of bias. Then I have IPDA Aimbot, which just confirms everything for me. And TAC helps a lot in terms of risk management and getting a good execution entry at the level I want, right? Now, you do need a little bit of a time approach, right? Be it DTT. So there's a lot of different ways you can learn time, right? There's DTT, there's GB time, there's GAN math, there's the 4515 from Juicy Content, then there's I think it was 40 to 50 from the ICD content. I might be wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong in the comments. That's my bad. I don't really watch ICT, so yeah. So DTT, GBT, Gamma, 4515, 4050 ECT. You can learn CLS also. CLS is the long name is continuous length settlements. It's a bit more of a deep dive. I'm not gonna lie, a lot more of a deep dive. But if you do manage to get what you want, you can learn it in the BBB book in our Discord. Bold, Bolder, and Boldest is the name. Really great book in terms of educational purposes for CLS also. There's a whole section on it. But for beginners, I'd recommend just going for GBT, right? GBT or, yeah, GBT or DDT. TAC is a derivative of GBT, just a different way of calculating the price. Not the price, but the sequence itself. So it's not GB time, but it's pretty close. Just different statistical probabilities. But TAC in itself is also a timing way of trading. It's just not going to give you your, let's say, for me, right? Let's say here, my timing would be 21:15. No. Yeah, 23:15, my bad. So my timing would be 23:15 here up till about 1 a.m., right? So this would be my entry time. You need a general idea of where you want to enter, and then TAC will take care of your execution and your more refined entry, right? So this is something you got to keep in mind. So my OTE reaction was already made. Here I think I took an entry. I'm not too sure though. Can't remember. Yeah, right there. So daily range high, closed above the daily range high. So this is the daily range high of the TAC, right? Then we'll take it off anyways. So daily range high got closed above. I took my entry. We were inside of our current sequence TAC. So this was our current sequence TAC. I was expecting prices to go above since we already came back into our change in state delivery TAC. So I don't know if you've seen a pattern here, but I do not use any PDRAs that are not TACs, right? Let's say this fair value gap here does not exist for me, right? Technically for me, it's this or it's this low here, right? I do not expect this fair value gap to be filled. I expect this to get filled and swept, or I expect this to get retested. I do not look at any other PDRAs, right? Except if it's a TAC. So TACs can be breakers, order blocks, fair value gaps, inverse fair value gaps, BPRs, high probability high, high probability low for the next sequence. It's a lot, you know. You can also do, let's say you're on the 15. So I know I'm throwing in a lot of things, but it's just because there's a lot of things to do with TAC too. You can throw in some deviations, right? So where am I? I'm right here. So let's say here from 23:15 to 1 is your entry time with the OTE, blah, blah, blah. Well, during that sequence up until here, this is going to be your deviation. So here I like using the OSTDV deviations. Mark it out up until the next sequence. And then from here, you can do the other deviations right there for the next sequence here. Down to there. So then these are going to be your deviations per sequence. Now again, this is a top-down analysis, so you can do it on the 15 or you can do it on the 4 hour. It doesn't make a difference. Only difference is you have to do the right time frame alignment. So if you're on the 4 hour doing the 4 hour deviations, don't expect to have the tick precise level on the 1 minute to get reacted to. You're gonna get swept into it for sure. You're gonna get swept into it. You gotta have the right time frame alignment for it to actually be precise, right? So here I'm gonna be using like the 15 and the 5 or 3, right? Because you need it to still be a wick. You don't want to have body closures under or over the level, or you're gonna get fucked mentally, right? So let's go down to the 3 again. Look at our deviations, and this is where you want to get your entries, right? So during my timing from 23:21 to 1 a.m. Well, technically I did take the entry before that, because I have another timing before that, but in terms of this one, you would wait for a reaction from the M. So the M would be this. So these are going to be your execution areas where you'll have a tight stop loss. You go break even super fast, take your partials. You know, that's how I roll, right? I take my entries, super tight stop loss, shit goes down, I go break even, I take my partials, and I let it ride. If I get taken out, I'm taking another entry somewhere else, right? So OTE, and then another M. Right, you can go down in the 1 minute if you want to have another point of view. Right here. So 1 minute, we came back into the 3-minute tack low, which was also a BPR tack here. Let's just do this. BPR tack here, came back above the M, so you could have gotten an entry here. Stop loss at the low of the tack here. Target the next M, which is also your high, pretty much. So low to high of your tack, right? This is just a 1 to 9, but you can also just do your stop loss at the M here since you already closed back into the range. It depends on how you trust it, you know, how much you trust the setup. And that was for this one, but then let's see the other deviation here. You have your OTE right there. The M. Retracement. All right. Pretty simple on this one, right? Attack for value gap there, so this is going to be your breakout for value gap of the range. Then, do we have any more P-rays here? CE of this wick. Nothing else really. This for value gap too. Alright. So here, we can always go to the 3-minute also if you want to have a bigger range of idea. So right there, 3-minute tack. Minute there. 1 minute here. Pretty simple setup here. Sweep of the low, tack low here, enter here. Stop loss under the fair value gap tack. Higher prices into the 3-minute tack. You're at break even, you take your partials, you let it ride the longer you can. Micro SMR is your high probability high or low of the range, but here you also had your 4-hour tack high right at this point, right? No. Okay, this was in the future, so this 4-hour tack is not important. So micro SMR would have been where I'm expecting the high of the range to be, which was also the actual OSTDV M range, right? So taking all these deviations together can truly help in terms of getting your RR and your executions way more precise. Right there. So this is just an example, right? But you can always use the OSTDV to have your general idea of where you want to get your execution, and then just wait for a tack candle to get swept or have a breakout of the range upwards from a tack candle to get into a buy, right? So let's see here. Let's say you don't have any general timing, you're just using the OSTDV timing and the tacks, right? You have your first tack here, break out of the tack, even if it's just a little bit of volume, start getting in super early like this. Stop loss under the OSTDV OTE level, and you take profit. Oh, yeah, and your take profit should be at the first tack here. So here would have been a loss at first. Right there, this is a loss. Then 4-hour tack low and 1-hour tack low get swept, rejection from there, new tech, fair value gap breakout. So this is gonna be your breakout of the range. You didn't come back into the fair value gap, but you did come back into your high slash low of your range, because this is your low of the sequence, right? Low of the sequence up until the high of the sequence. So OTE breakout, retest into it, stop loss under the OTE level, TP at the M at first, right? So at this point you're at break even and you take partials. Then you let it ride to the 1 hour, 4 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour here. And at this point I'm probably all out because the retracement level is right there from the OSTDV, and that's pretty much where I'm getting out, right? Nah, at this point, and I think I even got a little trade somewhere in here in the X from the M partition. Can't remember though. Yeah, right there. I think it was from IPDA Aimbot though. Was it because of the IPDA Aimbot? Yeah, that was because of the IPDA Aimbot, yeah. So this one, okay, this is another iteration of how to use the tech. This was a low, high probability tech, right? So what this means is when a tech is a low, there's a high chance that it's going to be a bullish price up until the next sequence. Now here, didn't respect. Here high, so high probability bearish up until the next sequence. And the high here, high probability bearish up until the next sequence. Here parent candle, so accumulation up until the next sequence inside of the range of that candle. So understanding candle properties is important, like parent candles inside bars. Don't understand don't go and learn like the dragon stick bullshit or fucking hammer fist or something like that, bro. Hammer candle, I can remember. Morning star. Don't learn that shit, but parent candle and inside bar is super important to learn. These two are the only candle patterns that I recognize and that I use every day, right? So tech candle low, higher prices into the M partition. I was at break even here, went for higher prices, 1 and 4 hour got swept. I closed the trade here, right? Extremely simple trade. You don't have to overcomplicate everything. Sometimes just YOLO that fucking shit, you know. IPDA Aimbot was also telling me that it's going to be bullish up until the CE level, so why not just YOLO it, right? So we're pretty much done on that day, right? Can go on NQ now. Damn. So we can go on NQ now, and I'll add the tank and was it all right, same thing as before. Start off on the daily. All right, so most current for not for value gap but PDA would be this and this, right? Then for value gap got taken this low, CE of this. That's gonna be okay, no, I don't want this. There it is. Perfect. Then what else do we have? Yeah, that should be it for that. I guess we can use those for that day. This is the daily tech. Okay. All right. So daily's done. Now you can go on the 4-hour. Let's take off the IPDA Aimbot for 2 seconds. 4-hour. This is attack low. So tell yourself that you're bullish from here. Always think of it as a bullish 4-hour. So this is bullish 4-hour. Then got this and this. So we never came back to that 4-hour, but this one's pretty important. This one here for the breakout on the lower time frame. Then 1 hour. Inverse value gap here. This is a buy side liquidity. Final buy side liquidity of that day actually. Then this was Friday. So we probably use that. Here. 1 hour. And this is my 1 hour. Okay. So after that, you don't really need to mark them out anymore. You just kind of look at them from 2 different screens. One screen on the M15 and one other on the 3 and 1 minute pretty much. You just want to see some sweeps. You know, that's pretty much what you want to do. You want to see some sweeps, right? So let's look at what that they gave us, right? So 4-hour tag here, sweep into it, tag candle here. We already managed, came back into that range. So your first buy side would be this. That closure was here. Stop loss under here. First buy side that you have is this one, okay? So at first you go there, and once you manage to close above this, you're at break even, and you let it ride up to daily tack. Daily tack, that's your closure. Daily tack reaction, which will give a strong reaction because this is a daily level, right? You're gonna have either a strong reaction and then you're gonna get swept, or strong reaction and continue the trend, right? This was already a downtrend, so going lower for lower prices was pretty much the normal way to think for this one, right? So daily tack high here, break out of that tack high. Let's take off that M15 though, don't need it. 1 hour tack low for lower prices. New tack again, sweeped it so you can get into this. Lower prices into the 4-hour, you're in break even and you took a small partial. Let it ride down to the daily tack here. Daily tack reaction from that tack too, so I would have gotten out 100% here. I would not have let it run down to this, right? Now, at this point, the low of our 4-hour was right here. Managed to sweep it, close under it, come back into that range, close above our previous tack again, so you're bullish. Bullish for value gap tack. Get inside that candle. Reaction from our previous one low here. Stop loss at this low. And continue with your take profit. If you don't really know which level to take, you already have the IPDA Aimbot. Let's say you want to go for your intraday trade or a large expansion. Well, here the low of the IPDA Aimbot was also in line with the track low. So first one is that CE level, which is going to be a break even, but in terms of CE level, I probably would have taken that to daily tack first, then go for break even, take some partials, and let it ride again. Second level, partials, would not have closed it here because we came back into the daily range. So my buy side is the next daily range, right? Daily range high. So you're technically going to hit your TP next week. Or if you decide to close on that 4 hour or 1 hour high right here that I remember I marked out, then it would have been also nice, right? If you didn't want to wait for the next of the week. So really just, you can use those tags for a lot of things, be it deviations, be it using it in pair with the IPDA Aimbot. I also had the OSTDV that you could use today. Well, not today, but on that day, I'm sure. You can always do it like super refined on the 3 minute and 1 minute for your trades. Also, like we were on the 15, but we could always be on the 3 minute or 1 minute and refine that shit, right? Let me just find my OSTDV timing. Okay. Right, yeah, good. Okay. So OSTDV again, always super useful in any market conditions, just to have your general idea of your bias. So M partition reaction here for lower prices into the OTE level and CE of IPDA Aimbot. M partition here. You could have also gotten another buy here. Well, technically sell at first, right? So this would have gotten me a loss at first. Then once we close back into the range, which would have been this tag candle for me, I would have been bullish up until that OTE level, and then try to ride it up until the M, right? Then we have OSTDV level, retracement level. Retracement, which is pretty much your low or high of the box in terms of low volume days. And in mid to high volume days, there's a higher chance that you're gonna get to LV or micro SMR, right? In this case, we came down to SMR instead. So in these days, I mark out every level singularly, because every level is going to be a continuation level to the more downside there is, right? My bad, my English kind of bad right now. Alright, so every level's down. Take this off at first. So these are my draw-ons / average areas of interest where I'm taking a trade, and if the OSTDV level is in line with the rest of my setup, I will take it, because pretty much the draw-on is the important part, right? So draw-on and execution. If you get a good execution super close to your level, and your draw-on is SB, but you're expecting lower prices than SB, then all you want to do is refine the execution, right? Refining the execution means higher RR, means higher returns, lower risk, and anyways, you're going break even the moment that you're at SB, and then you're gonna let it ride for no risk at all in like 2 minutes, right? Well, 6 minutes technically. It's nothing, right? Super easy. So just doing it from level to level will not work. You need a setup, like I said, with the tag, IPDA Aimbot, really anything. You need a whole setup, right? OSTDV is there to help you. General idea, general view, bias, nothing else. Draw on, right? Draw on, you expect sweeps. You expect to get closed over them. This is a draw on, not a precise entry setup that you can use to become rich, right? these are still deviations, not actual price action that you can back up, right? Deviations. So as long as you remember that and you can get a good setup inside of those deviations, then you'll be alright. You know, it'll be chill out. But yeah, micro SMR was a low of day here with a tack low. Managed to break out the tack range, changing state delivery. So this would have been your range, not your range, but your execution. Stop loss at the tack low here. And then IPDA Aimbot for your bigger range idea, which would have been this. Right, you have this at first, and then you came back into the Asia range low. Asia range low, which is, well, not exactly Asia range actually, it's before the Asia range, so OSTDV range low, pretty much. That's where you had your finish of your day, one way or another. Now the tack execution would have had you at exactly the top of the day, but OSTDV alone plus IPDA Aimbot giving you this type of entries are pretty fucking nice. But you know, it's all about just combining everything so that when there's overlaps, it's way stronger, and you get an entry from there, and you just run on the hopes and dreams that you're gonna get a 20R out of that. But in most cases, it's probably just gonna be a 5 or 6. But you know, we'll take it. 5 or 6 is okay. It's not always joys and beer, money every day, but you survive, man. You do what you can in this profession, and I hope that whatever I showed you today is going to be of help to you. If you need any help, just come in our Discord, as I say, like, in every video I make. So if you're still not in our Discord, there's kind of a problem because you're watching my videos, you know. I kind of don't like that. But y'all have a good day, a good night, a good year. If I don't see you again, ciao.